Hi, welcome to Books and Bocadillos. My name is Maria Andrea, and today I am doing the I'm so annoyed tag. This is take two, so I am so annoyed. but this tag was created by Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading after she watched Melinda from a Web of Stories do a video about a lot of annoying things. And she weaponized the video, made it into a tag, and the lovely Gina Stanier tagged me. And I'm so happy she tagged me. Thank you, Gina, because yeah, who doesn't want an excuse to just have a little bit of a venting session about annoying things that publishers and bookish annoyances, book related annoyances um, come up, right? Like it's part of the reading life. So let's get to it. This is the I'm so annoyed tag. And question number one is, do publishers ever do things that you find annoying? So I'm looking down because I have my notes right on my lap. And I wrote, yes, when all of the books in a collection are in paperback, and then the next book comes out in hardcover. An example of this is Emily Henry. Emily Henry's books. So I have been collecting these books in paperback. Um, Book lovers, people we meet on vacation, beach read. I had these books in my collection. I was loving her books and I wanted to have a collection until her book, Happy Place, came out last year in hardcover. So now, as like a reader of Emily Henry, like I'm someone who has enjoyed reading Emily Henry, who follows Emily Henry's publishing career, right? Like I was so excited and looking forward to. Like it was a book I was anticipating to read last year, and I wanted to buy it when it came out. Like I was excited about this book. And it was probably one of the books I was most excited about last year. And then it came out in hardcover. Well, I don't want a hardcover because I have all her books in paperback, or like, most of her books in paperback. So I wanted to have my collection of like these rom-coms in paperback. And so I have to wait like another year, more or less, maybe a little less than a year, but I have to wait a long time to get a paperback version of her latest book. And it's going to come out next week and I'll be able to get it. But I'm so annoyed. I don't want to now I'm like, I don't want to read it. I'm so annoyed. I don't want to read it while I'm annoyed. So I am kind of like, that level of annoyance has just made me like, do I even want to continue to like invest and collect these books? Like, you know what? I'm even like considering like giving away my collection. And then just maybe like once the annoying feelings go away, then I'll pick up Happy Place. I need to feel happy to want to read Happy Place. Like I don't want to feel annoyed and read this like book that has all this hype, and that I want it to be like a fun reading experience. So yeah, I'm kind of I don't know. My taste is a little soured with Emily Henry's collections now that like I've had to wait extra long to read her latest book. I'll read it when I read it. I'm like so annoyed. I'm like, I'll get to it later. Okay, question number two. Have you ever been annoyed by a spoiler, even something as simple as someone else telling you that there's a great twist? Mildly annoyed. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 barely bothered or not at all bothered, and 10 being so freaking annoyed, probably would land at a 4 or 5. If it was in emoji terms, it'd probably be like a side eye, like little rolling eye, side eye emoji. When I listen to a podcast, that's how I feel. Like I think that's like the experience that I've had most often when I listen to a podcast and the hosts are talking and talking and talking about a book that is new, that is either like a new release or been published in the last year, so it's not been around forever. And I maybe haven't heard of it or haven't picked it up yet. And they're talking and they're saying more than what I want to hear. That's like a big turnoff for me. I don't like going into books knowing a lot. And I've talked about this before. Like, I think for me, one of my biggest problems in my reading life is picking up books that are overhyped and then feeling disappointed, because the more a book is hyped, the higher my expectations are. And then I'm just feeling crushed and disappointed because inevitably, like, the expectations were too high. The hype was just way more than I wanted it to be. And yeah, it's like totally messed up my reading experience. So I tend to try to wait to read hyped books, because then I may enjoy them more like years down the line. So when people on podcasts are talking and talking and talking about books, I love listening to podcasts about books and the reading life. I love those kinds of podcasts. That's, I think, most of, well, not most, but a good chunk of what I listen to in terms of podcasts is about books and the reading life. And yeah, I feel slightly annoyed. 4 or 5 side eye emoji, rolling eye emojis when people go on and on about books. Like, more than what I want to hear. I do like hearing people's recommendations, but not so thick and heavy. And I usually avoid reviews for that reason. So I don't usually pick up a review or like go to a review on booktube until I've already read the book. The only time I'll listen to a review or watch a review of a book before I finish reading the book is if I'm questioning DNFing. So I think I may not finish the book. Then I will go to a review to help me decide. Maybe it'll change my mind or teach me something that I need to know in terms of how to approach the book. So yeah, I think I've answered that question. Next question. Have you ever been annoyed by what you discovered in a little free library, a book sale, or a used bookstore? Tell us what you found and why it was so annoying. Again, maybe like mild annoyances here. Little free libraries, it's annoying when, let's say you're coming back from the grocery store, right? And you have some refrigerated items and you decide, I'm just going to stop at a free little library to drop off these books that I've been carrying in my car. And you stop and your books don't fit in the shelves of this little free library because it's a mess. And then you have to like shuffle things and clean things out and kind of organize things. And then you've spent more time than you wanted to spend at this little free library. Like, what was supposed to be just a quick drop off of books ended up being a little bit of time organizing and cleaning up the little free library. So yeah, that is a little annoying when you have messy, dirty little free libraries. Book sales, this is more of a me issue. Like, I don't know. I think maybe millennials, other millennials, I'm a millennial, so maybe other millennials might relate, but I don't carry cash a lot. Like, I don't carry a lot of cash with me. So it's happened where I'll show up to a book sale and they don't take card or any other like electronic form of payment, like a Cash App or Venmo or anything like that. They just take cash. And so I've had to actually like turn around and leave, and like sometimes the ATM isn't available or the bank is not like very close to where you can go, and you have to like leave empty-handed and not get to shop because you didn't have cash. And so you think I'd know better and plan for that. And I think it's happened once or twice, but yeah, I think it's something that I have to think about. Like, oh, I have to stop by the bank on my way to this book sale to get money so that I can shop. It's a little annoying, just a tiny little annoying. And in bookstores, so like discounted bookstores or used bookstores, sometimes when the edges are like marked, like there's like a marker, like red, or usually it's like a red or black marker, and they just like mark the edges. I think it just shows that it's like a discounted book. But I don't really like it. And those books are books that I probably just buy just to read the book and then know that it's not a book I'm going to keep in my collection. Because it is kind of annoying to have those markings like that, like just like a random like line. Okay, gonna keep going. Next question. When it comes to short story collections, are you annoyed if there's a novella in the middle of the collection? No, I'm not annoyed. That's not annoying to me at all. So I'm a mood reader, and the way that I approach a short story collection is not in order. So I'll open up a short story collection and I'll look at the table of contents and see if there's a title that speaks to me. Sometimes if it's like a collection I'm rereading, I usually know like, oh, like I'll think like, oh, I really feel like reading the story again. So I'll go specifically to that story. But if it's a new to me collection, I'll look through the titles, and if there's one that speaks to me, I'll go to that. I might peruse a little bit and see like, okay, what looks good. If I'm feeling ambitious, I might look for the longest story and start there, regardless of where it's at. It might be at the end, and I'm going to start at the end and then feel accomplished because I just read the longest story in this collection. And then that feels like it's a really good feeling. So, yeah, I'm not annoyed by that at all. Um, Next question. Deckled edges. Beautiful or annoying? Absolutely beautiful. I love myself some deckled edges. I have an example here. So this is a book I picked up at a local used bookstore. So it was in used condition. And this is an example of a nearly perfect book. It's nearly perfect because it's nice and chunky, and I like myself a chunky book. And it's got French flaps. What would make this like even more beautiful is if the inner pages were like colored or like pretty. And it's got the deckled edges. And to me, that's just beautiful. I love the feel. I love the texture. I really like textured books. Like if there's texture to the book, I love that. I don't know. Maybe I'm a touchy person, and like I like touch, and I like that kind of like sensation. I'm thinking like the Nickel Boys, the dust jacket of the Nickel Boys. That is like gritty, and I feel like it matches the mood of the book, like the grittiness, and I like that. Like I like that like gritty, rough feel of the dust jacket in that book. But yeah, Deckled Edges feels like such a treat for my fingertips. Um, Next question. Other people's annotations in a used book or a library book? Annoyed thoughts. In a used book, I don't mind at all. I'm an annotator. I love annotating in books, and I think I've had like a conversation with Melinda about this in like comments at one point in one of her videos or my videos. But I've mentioned how I like having a sense of like intimacy with my books. Like I like feeling personable, close, intimate with my reading. And so my books, I tend to like annotate. If it's a book that I feel very connected to in some way, or a book that is resonating with me at the time that I'm reading it in such like a special way, I will annotate, I'll highlight, and I feel like that's not only therapeutic for me, but it's also a sign that I have thoroughly enjoyed my time with this book. And this book is special because I took my time with it, and I really like gave a piece of me to it as well. Like I spent time thinking about what the text was saying to me, what questions were coming up for me as I was reading, like all of those things. Like it was a very active reading experience, and I really like value that. So when I find a book in a used bookstore that has annotations, or even the ex libris like stickers, I love those. Um, and and if there's annotations, it kind of makes me feel like I'm reading somebody's journal, like I'm just getting some like glimpse into another person's reading experience. And in that minute, it might sound kind of cheesy, but feeling like connecting to other readers through the same text, and like in different time periods, like it almost feels like time travel. Like, I don't know. I love that feeling of like somebody 50 years ago read this book and like highlighted or annotated it. And then, 50 years later, I'm picking it up and I'm like seeing what they thought and the questions they were asking themselves. And it's really, really cool. I like that. Um, library books. Absolutely not. Don't write in library books. No, no. Library books are not mine. They're not yours. They're shared. Let's keep them nice and clean and well cared for. Next question. If there's a series or collection of certain kinds of books, like an imprint, and changes are made, are you annoyed or okay with it? Give an example. I don't know if this answers the question, and I may be wrong, and I am okay with you telling me if I'm wrong or if there's something that I don't know. But I want to talk about Ray Bradbury. I love Ray Bradbury. Ray Bradbury is one of my all-time favorite authors, and I first read Ray Bradbury in high school when I read The Illustrated Man. And this book, you can see it's like well loved and cared for. Cared for in the sense like this lived in backpacks. Um, I say backpacks because I first got this book, and then I'm an older, like I'm older. I'm a firstborn. So I have a younger sibling, and that younger sibling was going to need to read this book. So I didn't annotate or highlight in it. I left it nice for them to be able to use. And they read this, and you can tell it's been through a couple of hands and several backpacks. But I like this. I liked this when I was in high school. Now it doesn't appeal for a reread, not in this text. The text is like super tiny. It's not very like easy on the eyes, and I'm a middle-aged woman now, and that's a thing. So a couple years ago, I read Dandelion Wine, and I absolutely loved it. And this book is like one of my all-time favorite books. Like it's up there, top 5, easy. And you can see that these books match. But Dandelion Wine is part of a trilogy. Now, it doesn't mean that the books are like they have to follow each other or that you can't read one if you haven't read the other. Like I don't think it works like that, but they are part of like a collection. So it's like Dandelion Wine, Farewell Summer, Something Wicked This Way Comes. I have tried to look for a book, like a Ray Bradbury collection of the 3 books. So Dandelion Wine, Farewell Summer, Something Wicked This Way Comes, all like in one. And I haven't found it. Now, Ray Bradbury has collections like compendiums, like the collected works of Ray Bradbury. And he has 2 that I've seen, 2 like the library collections, like where it's like 3 or 4 books in one. And of course, like the one that has Dandelion Wine has the Martian Chronicles, Fahrenheit 451, Dandelion Wine, and another one. I think it might be this one, but it doesn't have Farewell Summer. And I think Farewell Summer is in a different one. And that is so annoying to me. Like, why? Why can't they publish a book of like the 3 together? Is that too much to ask? Can it be done? Is it out there? If it's out there, please let me know, because that's ultimately what I want. I haven't found this one in this version, but I honestly would rather upgrade this one to like this version, or even better, like a compendium of. So This is my Ray Bradbury collection. It's tiny. I have the Martian Chron. No, I have Fahrenheit 451. I have 2 copies of Fahrenheit 451. I think I have 1 or 2 copies of Fahrenheit 451, and it's more like this kind of book. It's not in this version. I don't know. I think I just need to buy the whole like big collected works of Ray Bradbury, but that's annoying. Um, 8. Do the decisions of characters in a novel ever annoy you? Share the book and what decisions you find annoying. Okay, so I'm not going to share the book because I don't want to spoil it. I'm going to share what was annoying. So a few years back, I read a book that had a lot of hype. It was a book that I listened, like it was talked about on podcasts multiple times. It was a book that was everywhere, like Target, Barnes and Noble, like everywhere. It just felt like it was everywhere at the time. And I picked it up on my Kindle. So I got it on Kindle because there was a Kindle deal. And yes to Kindle deals. So I got it on Kindle. Thankfully, it was a deal. I probably did not pay more than $2 for it. And I was so annoyed that if I had had the book in like paperback, I would have thrown the book across the room because it was so not believable at all. So what happens is the main character in this novel has a sister. The main character falls in love with her sister's husband. Turns out the sister's husband is also into the main character. So they hook up and become a thing. And then when she goes to tell her sister that she's fallen for her brother-in-law, her sister's husband, the sister's like, "Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead. He's all yours." And no big deal. It's like sharing a sweater. Like, "Oh yeah, you like my sweater? You can have my sweater. It's okay. I have other sweaters." Or like, like that, like, what? Like, no. No, I mean, okay. I said I have a sibling. I have a brother. I do not have a sister. I don't know what it's like to have a sister, but I don't think that that's like normal. I mean, I know sisters are close and sisters share their clothes, and sisters, like, I know, I mean, from what I can tell, from what I see, people tend to have close relationships with their sisters, and sisters have like a close bond and all, but I don't know. I don't know. So I just thought, I mean, not that I wanted like these sisters to like never talk again or never like have a relationship, but I really wanted it to be more realistic. Like, if that was a real life thing, like there would be drama and they would have to work through like the drama. And it just was like, this is not. And it just turns out like, oh, everything's wrapped in a little pretty bow and they live happily ever after and everybody's happy and yay, let's be happy for them. And I was like, what? This is not a resolution. Like, we're just going to put a pretty bow on this and say like, and they lived happily ever after. No, sorry, no. That was annoying. Next question. Are you ever annoyed by how someone organizes their books? What do you find annoying? Okay. I've watched a few of like other content creators make this video, and I think other content creators would be annoyed with me. One thing that people have been saying is that they don't like it when people, like, for example, here you see like I have title, and then I have the deckled edges and like just the edges showing and then title. Okay, so on my bookshelves, the way that I organize my books is if I have books with deckled edges, I want the deckled edges out. So like I want to see the deckled edges. So sometimes like just to kind of like create a little bit of like like balance, because like all the colors and all the titles, and so the deckled edges books are my like frame. Like I try to have like a border in my bookshelf. So I'll have like a border of white and a border of white. And then I have titles in the middle. And so the deckled edges are usually what I do to create a border or a division. If I'm like dividing books by, okay, these are a certain section of my bookshelf. And then if I want to, yes, I have like bookends to help with that. But if I need to put a break in a shelf and I don't have a bookend, I'll flip the book if it's, or like I'll put a book with a deckled edge and just have the deckled edge facing out. Also, I have a shelf where it's like my TBR. And as I'm reading books from my TBR, when I read a book and I go back to place it on the shelf, I'll I'll place it in the like so I'll place it in the shelf like this. So this faces out to you. So I would see like, oh, this book I already read because I see the edge, not the spine. So I organize my books like that, and I like it. I like having breaks and like white and like white spaces in my shelf. Um, so I think other people find that annoying, but I really like it. Um, what can I say? Um, in bookstores, sometimes when sci-fi and fantasy are all like one, like everything's like they're not separate. I like to differentiate between science fiction and fantasy. I think that the genres oftentimes they're just kind of like all mixed in one section, and that's a little annoying. Not a lot, but a little. Um, this book here, I love. I like this book, but it's such a weird size. Like on my shelf, it's it's with my graphic novels, but a lot of the graphic novels are like taller, and then it's also this is like longer this way. So on a bookshelf, it's like extra long and like it stands out. So I like this, but it's just a weird size and it doesn't look, it bothers me when I see it on my shelf extra. I don't know. This might be like a good coffee table book, but I have it on my shelves. I don't have it on my coffee table. There's going to be a weird edit right here, but last question is share something bookish that you find annoying. And when you order books online and they come back damaged, it's happened to me several times. You can see the damage. I ordered a book for a friend, and it was a signed copy. It was signed by the author and it was signed to her name, like, and it came back damaged. It came damaged in the mail, like torn like this like damage to the cover, the hardcover. I've gotten books at Barnes and Noble where the only copy they have of the book that I'm like wanting to buy right there and then has a torn dust jacket. I buy them anyway because the dust jackets you can just remove. I have one there, like I didn't pull it out before recording, but so Ada Limon has some books and I have a collection of her books. So this is the Caring, well, the Hurting Kind I bought at Barnes and Noble, and the dust jacket was torn. I bought it and I mean I put the dust jacket away. I have it just like the naked hardback. This isn't a bookstore damaging, but this book, it's the Penguin Books of Christmas Stories. I put it out on my coffee table. I put it on my coffee table during the winter holidays, during the winter season, during the Christmas holidays. And a couple of years ago, this happened. My husband was supposed to be supervising kids, and this happened. I was so annoyed. I was so annoyed. Anyway, this is really annoying too. So right now I'm reading Homegoing, and when like the cover is like shorter than the book, and then there's this like glossy page with just like blurbs, and then like pages and pages of blurbs, a few pages of blurbs. Like that's kind of annoying. This one, The Glass Hotel with by Emily St. John Mandel, does the same thing. The front cover is shorter. It opens up to this glossy page that I don't like, and then it's got like pages of blurbs. So that's kind of annoying. Bookmarks, like this is cute bookmark and all, but like this bookmark doesn't stay in here very well. I'm constantly losing my page, which is why, yes, sometimes I dog ear my books because this bookmark coming off is annoying. Yes, I know there are book darts. Yes, I know there are other ways to mark your place in a book, but that's another video. And then these. So I have the collection of these. I know people don't like these covers. I love these covers. I think these covers are beautiful, but I'm really glad that I have My Brilliant Friend without the sticker, because every book after My Brilliant Friend has this like dumb New York Times bestseller sticker. Like, I don't want this. It's not even a sticker. It's like actually there, like New York Times bestseller. I want them all to look like this, but only this one I bought before. I'm pretty sure now you can. Like, they sell this one at the store. Like the one with the little thing there. But that's annoying. And okay, I've got another example. The Night Circus does the same thing. It's a shorter page, and then it just opens up to a glossy page of blurbs, and then like pages and pages of blurbs. Like, so annoying. And Maggie O'Farrell, Hamnet does the same thing. Glossy page, blurbs, and this New York Times stick, like decal that's on there. And then book clubs, like this is Sarah Jessica Parker, but it's like Read with Jenna or Reese Witherspoon. Like, they have these just like, why can't I just not have the book club on the book? Okay. Oh, the last thing that I was going to say about annoying things that happen. When you are listening to a book series on audio and you get to the next book in the series and they don't have it on audio, like it hasn't been produced on audio, and you have to wait who knows how long. So that's where I'm at with Wanton Terror by Vivian Chien. I've been listening, and like I have the Kindle and I have the audio. And Wanton Terror, there's a Kindle, but there's no audio, and I've been kind of doing both, and I haven't read it. I mean, I'm supposed to read it this year because I read one a year, and I'm at Wanton Terror, and it's not on audio yet. So I don't know. I don't really want to read it without the audio. And that's it. That is the I'm so annoyed book tag. And now I'm feeling very annoyed thinking about all these annoying things, and I'm ready to call it a day. Thank you so much for watching. I'm not going to tag anybody because I think so many people have already been tagged. I don't know anybody that hasn't been tagged. So if you haven't been tagged and you're watching this and you have stuff to say, just say it. Just do it. Tag, you're it. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Hasta la próxima. Bye.